Good morning, everybody. You tuned in to Cragcore. Thank you for being here today. It's Friday, the 18th of August, and today we're going to be talking about freedom. That's right. You heard it here first. No, you heard it on Braveheart first, didn't you? Of course you did. Now, anyway, freedom. Now, it's a word that's thrown around and it has many meanings. However, it really just means living free, or having the ability to do so. Having freedom. I mean, what I'm getting at is, we as human beings are literally the only species here on Earth that actually pay to live here. I mean, fucking hell. We pay money to live. There's this thing called money, right? Don't know if you heard, but there's this thing called money that's a construct that's been created by a group of people. And it's basically enslaved you. So now you have to go and be a slave on a daily basis to earn this fictitious bargaining chip that means literally nothing, by the way. It's not worth the paper it's printed on. And nowadays it isn't even printed on paper, it's numbers on a screen, dude. So it's not even worth the numbers on that screen. It's nothing. When it becomes digital, it is actually nothing. It is, people say, you know, money's an idea. Well, whilst you're holding it in your hand, it's hard to accept that, isn't it? Because you've got to look past the physical, you've got to look to the actual construct to which it actually represents. But when it becomes digital numbers on a screen, it starts to become a little bit more believable that this thing is just an idea. Because at that point, who owns what? Well, absolutely nobody owns anything. Nobody owns anything at all at that point, I say with a stutter. So we pay to live here. And as a matter of fact, we waste our lives. We waste the life we have trying to live. When you say, I mean, I'm on my way to work right now, and I'm saying this, and it's a tragic situation that we're in, isn't it? Because we are paying to live. Everything is free, man. Air is free. Food is free. You can make clothes, man. Everything that stuff is made of is all free. You don't need money. Do the birds need money? Do rabbits and fucking foxes, do they need money? No, they don't. But they're still alive, right? They're still having families, raising, little baby rabbits and stuff, and carrying on their lives. Oh, and they've got a home as well, haven't they? Oh yes, they've got a home. They breathe the air. They eat, they stay warm. I mean, granted, they can't knock two bits of flint together to make a fire, but they don't need to, do they? Because they're undercover, wearing a blanket. So ultimately, nature provides. Now, I was once sat at a cemetery. Oh yes, you heard right. I was sat at a cemetery and I saw a bird flying, and I was like, fucking hell, man, you know. I looked around, and all of these graves representing somebody who lived. I thought, I just had this connection made. This bird is free of the burdens of life. It has no bills. It has no worries or woes with regards to who gives a fuck about their picture on social media. It has none of this. And nor do the people in the graveyard. Nor do the people that are buried in the ground. They're all past it. All of their worries in life are gone. They died with them. The worries are now no longer apparent, at least to that person. They probably spent their lives, like everybody else on this planet, worried about money, first and foremost, of course, because it's the way the system is designed. Worried about where they're going to get, because obviously money is the governor of all, isn't it? It said it in the film They Live. Money is your god, basically, and that's how we live these days. Unfortunately, that's how we live. Even people, you know, godly people require money, don't they? You know, churchy folks, vicars and stuff. You got to leave a fucking donation, haven't you? You know, the collection plate goes around. Everybody requires money. So all of these people are no longer worrying. Their worries almost seemed a little bit in vain, because they're now dead. And they probably died with worries. And that's the sick thing, isn't it? We spend our lives in a constant state of worry. And it probably puts us in a state of fight or flight most of the time. And when you're in a state of fight or flight, you make bad decisions. It's a commonly known fact that when you're in fight or flight, you don't make rational judgment decisions, or decisions based on a rational judgment. You basically you're in panic mode. You're more likely to be told what to do, that's for sure. That's why in times of crisis you should stay calm. That's why the guy who stays calm when faced with fucking adversity is usually the person that rises to the top of that situation. Because you've not gone into panic mode, therefore making irrational decisions. But anyway, all of these people were dead. They had no more problems at all. And this bird, representatively enough, was just flying around as free as a bird. You know, no worries, no heartache. I mean, about the only thing that people or animals have to worry about in the natural kingdom is whether they're predators or prey. You know, because if you're prey to something, which most things are, you could potentially have your last day on any given day. So that's the same as us, though, isn't it? Every day could be our last. You know, we don't tend to be predator or prey. However, there are many things in our lives that can cause death. So there we have it. And it struck me. In that moment, it struck me. With this comparison going on. And this connection between the freedom of a bird and the freedom of somebody who is now dead. The tragedy of that. Something spoke to me in that moment, and it was not free as a bird. It was simply be as a bird. Be as a bird, y'all. Because birds... I don't know if you ever watched a bird fly. You know, when they're on their own, or perhaps with another one. In a flock, it's different. But they fly around having fun, just soaring on the breeze, just swooping here and there, flapping their wings. It's a wonderful thing to watch. And there's something about being out in the breeze that makes you feel fresh, right? Imagine being up there. What a wonderful feeling. And if that's what it feels like to be dead, then what a tragedy is life. Ultimately, what a tragedy is life when the only freedom is in death. Now, ultimately, we can change this, can't we? And here he comes. We can change it. It's about working together. I mean, getting rid of the monetary system isn't something that's going to be easy. And I don't even know if it's possible, to be fair. As people, as human beings, it's our inventive mind, isn't it? We come up with new things all the time. Most of the time it's for profit or reward. I don't know whether we're able to escape that programming, personally, unless there's just a hard reset. And I don't just mean the Great Reset, all that bollocks people like Schwabi's talking about. Unless there's a hard reset of, say, just the existence of people on planet Earth. I really don't know how people are able to get out of that. But ultimately, we have to accept that money itself is what enslaves us. And it doesn't matter how much you've got or how little you've got, you're still a slave to it. The only thing that counts is self-love. Because whether or not you've got money, self-love will be your true happiness. I dare say people that have got multiple millions in the bank, they'll never have to worry about work again, or where they're going to get their next meal from, or whether or not they can fuel their car for the coming week at work and stuff like this. It doesn't matter. They've still got worries, because if they've got no self-love, well, then they're trying to fill a void in their life with that money. And the true void that needs to be filled is one of self-love. Because think about it comparatively, if you've got self-love and you have little to no money, and you literally survive day to day, week to week, check to check, so to speak, then you're happy regardless, aren't you? You make the most of life. That's the difference, which is why it doesn't matter if you've got no self-love. It doesn't matter how much money you've got, you will still be unhappy. I mean, that goes to show, doesn't it, that money itself, that which it represents, the constant system that strives people forward to make more, it isn't actually what we need. We're throwing ourselves out of whack with nature. We're throwing ourselves out of whack, which is with that which is truly needed, which is love. And it starts with love of the self. Once you've got self-love and you start spreading that love, you look at how little other things seem to matter. Things like money. Because it's something that money cannot buy. And people say money can't buy happiness. But having money can buy you the things that make you happy. Well, that in its own right is right and wrong at the same time. It also comes down to whether or not you've got self-love, which I'll explain. But it's right and wrong at the same time, because yes, it can buy you the things that make you happy. Or at least they can provide a certain type of lifestyle that is worryless if you're already happy. But it goes to show that without that self-love, the void cannot be filled with things. Therefore, it's just a distraction from the need to fill that void with the self-love. That's all it is. So it just distracts you from your need for self-love. Once those people have everything they want and they run out of distractions, that's why they become miserable. That's why you find people that are millionaires committing suicide and shit, because they realize that once they've used up all of their distractions, all of their options to distract themselves, they either go to more and more perverse ways to do so, or once they've reached their limit, they get depressed because they realize that that's actually, it doesn't matter whether you've got a flash car and fucking a big massive house, you know, it doesn't matter, because you're still miserable. You've not got any self-love, therefore the depression. Now, if you are a person with self-love and you have all of that money, well, you'll have a big house, you'll have a nice car, and you can be happy with it, because it takes away the stress and pressure of being able to afford to live within this current system, this current fucking consumerist system. It gives you the comfort of knowing that you can live without worry. And that is something that is priceless, having no worries. We are, unfortunately, in a system where we require money to live. I mean, like I say, whether or not we'll ever escape that system, I don't know. That's irrelevant right now, at least, because we're still in it, and I'm not the guy to fucking come up with a new way of living, personally, with regards to money and stuff. Like, who is? Fucking Jacques Fresco? Perhaps. But if you've got self-love, then you're happy, whether you've got money or not. And if you haven't got self-love, then you're unhappy eventually if you've got money, and definitely if not. So that's the key here, is self-love, self-worth. Now, being as a bird, I believe, will probably happen at some point when people realise they don't need to worry about half the shit that they worry about. It all comes down to self-love, because this is the thing. You spend your life worrying about being able to afford this or that. Will the bills get paid? Will you feed yourself? Can you put clothes on your back? Well, you've made it this far, right? Not everybody ends up homeless. You've made it this far. You know, you live within your means. At some point, you will have to. And with that self-love, it doesn't matter anymore, because you're just simply happy. You realise the true value of what things actually is. And ultimately then, you can be free of the worries that come with all of that fucking lack of perspective. Tell me I'm wrong. If there's anybody that disagrees, please let me know. I mean, I would say before you go ahead and do that, which I'm absolutely fine with, I'd say have a little bit more self-love and see how things are. Just go away. Just go away. Just go away and have a think. Live your life with a bit more self-love and self-worth, and just see if it starts to free up some of that crushing pressure. See if it starts to free up some of the woes and the worries, and just allow yourself to love yourself. Just be okay with who you are, because it is okay. Have some self-love, some self-worth. And you will find that your life starts to become more loving. Certain people might fall away from your life, by the way, but that's okay. That's fine. You got to throw away a pair of fucking shoes that are knackered and got holes in to appreciate, to go and buy yourself a new pair. It's part of life's great tapestry. I mean, a snake sheds its skin when it doesn't need it anymore. Sometimes it can be painful. Spiders can shed their skin. All of these different things, there's lots of analogies everywhere. Trees shed their leaves once a year. It's all a part and process of life. If you start living your life in love, having self-love and self-worth, yes, certain aspects of your life will be shed, of course, but you will gain so much more. More loving scenarios, relationships, a more loving view of yourself will start to emerge, and you find yourself in a more loving sphere. And that's the key, man. Your life will change. Just go and have a look. Just go and try it, man. But don't be worried. If people start to fall away because they don't want you loving yourself anymore. I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm not talking about being a dick, and being egotistical and fucking shouting from the rooftops and being all fucking like, well, fuck you, because that's just being a different kind of person, all right? Self-love is well, I don't know. You express it the way you express it. Maybe it's a process of your journey. Fuck it, I don't know. I don't care. Just do it the way you do it, actually. I'll do it the way I do it. You do it the way you do it. Just go and have some self-love and you watch your life change. Everything is a learning process. Everything is a learning curve. And if you're doing it through love, then it's meant to be, man. And just give it a try. And on that note, I'm going to wish love and peace to all things everywhere. This is Cragcore. Thank you for being here with me today. I'm going to sign off here. Peace.